Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we've be exploring this dark cave that has some pretty scary paranormal signs, and I'm gonna tell you why it is one of my scariest places ever. The cave itself was formed by the Wisconsin River thousands of years ago. There are several crypts and stone coffins located inside of the cave, and according to legend, the bones found inside of them belonged to people who had passed away in the cave. So obviously, with all of these scary things happening, it's no wonder why so many people believe that this cave is haunted. And if you've ever experienced anything paranormal before, let me know in the comments below. Many people have reported feeling cold spots, hearing strange whispers, and seeing apparitions. Many explorers have claimed that while they were walking through the cave, they saw strange lights flashing in the distance. They described the lights as being a bright green color, and they would appear and disappear after a few seconds. Many explorers have claimed that they saw strange symbols carved into the walls of the cave. These symbols have never been identified, and nobody knows what they mean. There are so many stories of people experiencing the paranormal in this cave that it would be a shame not to at least consider the possibility that it might be true. Do you believe that this cave is haunted? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you do miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Some people believe that they could be ancient and that they could have been carved into the walls by Native Americans. Others believe that they could be the work of Satanists. There is no evidence to support either of these theories, but the strange symbols continue to be a mystery. Some people believe that these could be the spirits of those who have died in the cave, and others believe that they could be something else entirely. These strange lights have never been explained, and they continue to this day. In fact, one man named John Smith went into the cave to investigate, and he brought his ghost hunting equipment with him. The cave is very dark, and it's easy to get lost if you do and have a guide. There are also strange formations in the cave that could easily confuse someone who's trying to find their way out. For example, there are several areas where the ceiling is so low that you have to crawl on your hands and knees. And there are also areas where the walls are so narrow that you can only fit through them sideways. Even though the cave is dangerous, there are still people who enter it every year. And while most of them don't have any bad experiences, there are some who do. While he was investigating, he heard a voice that said his name, and when he turned around, he saw a figure standing in front of him. He tried to walk up to the figure to try and interact with it, but as he got closer, it started to fade away. Robert was exploring the cave with a group of friends when they decided to split up and explore different parts of the cave. Robert and one of his friends decided to venture off on their own, and they ended up finding a room in the cave that they had never seen before. The room was filled with strange symbols, and they could feel the temperature drop significantly. As they were exploring the room, they heard footsteps, and they could feel something brushing up against their legs. They tried to ignore it, but it continued to get worse. Eventually, they decided to leave the room and go back to the main area of the cave. As they were leaving, they could hear voices whispering to them. They didn't understand what the voices were saying, but they could tell that they weren't friendly. Once they got back to the main part of the cave, they rejoined their friends, and they decided to leave. As they were exiting the cave, Robert and his friend saw a figure standing in front of them. The figure was tall and thin, and it appeared to be watching them. They tried to ignore it, but as they got closer, they could feel the temperature drop around them. They also started to hear whispers and footsteps. Eventually, they were able to get past the figure, and they left the cave. Then suddenly, his equipment started to pick up a strong signal, and as it turns out, the exact same thing happened to someone else in 1963. A woman had entered the cave, and as they were walking through, she stopped and stared at a rock formation that looked like an altar. She felt something brush up against her leg, and when she turned around, she saw a translucent figure standing in front of her. The figure was wearing what looked to be a long dress, and she appeared to be sad. The woman reached out to try and touch the figure, but as soon as she did, the figure vanished. And just like John, the woman's boyfriend was able to pick up a strong signal on his ghost meter. But before we go any further, I want to take a moment to say that not everyone believes in ghosts or the paranormal. And that's okay. You don't have to believe in ghosts to enjoy a good old spooky story. Now, scientists have not confirmed if the bones actually belong to humans, or if they could possibly be from animals. But to this day, nobody knows for sure what they are. Also, Throughout the years, there have been many hikers and explorers that have come into the cave only to never make it out. And their bodies were later discovered deep within the cave. While their families were able to identify them, the question still remains, how did they end up dying in such a strange place? And because of its unique formation, it became a place where people would come to hide from the harsh winters that the state has every year. Many explorers have claimed that when they enter the cave, they can hear screams, whispers, and even footsteps. In fact, in 2014, a group of teenagers entered the cave and they began filming inside. As they were walking through the cave, they could feel the temperature change, and then they started hearing voices in the background. When they turned around to try and see where the voices came from, they saw a cloaked figure standing behind them. The figure seemed to be tall and thin, and after it appeared, the voice seemed to get louder. The teens were so scared at this point that they turned around and ran as fast as they could to the exit of the cave. While they were running, they could still hear the footsteps behind them getting closer and closer. The figure was never seen again, but the strange sounds still echo throughout the cave. And because it's been used for sheltering in the past, it led to the cave becoming known as a portal to the afterlife. This is because over the years, there have been several unexplained sightings and occurrences that have taken place within the cave. And locals believe these things are the spirits of those who have died within the cave itself. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So there are many creepy caves all around the world, and today we are going to be exploring one in particular that is located in the United States. The first reason that people have found this cave to be haunted is because of the number of deaths that have occurred here. Another reason that people believe this cave is haunted is because of the strange noises that can be heard inside. There are also other stories of people seeing figures standing in the distance, and when they got close enough to try and talk to them, the figures would vanish into thin air. But for those of us who do believe in the paranormal, we know that sometimes these things can happen. Now, another reason why people think that this cave is haunted is because of the strange behavior that people experience inside. The next reason that people believe this cave is haunted is because of the strange lights that have been seen within. Many people have entered the cave and never came out. Some people have even gotten lost in the cave and have had to be rescued. And the last reason that people think this cave is haunted is because of the strange symbols that have been found inside. One of the most famous stories of someone experiencing the paranormal in this cave comes from a man named Robert Lee. If you're skeptical about whether or not this cave is haunted, I completely understand, but I encourage you to keep an open mind. Well, that's all I've got for you today, guys.